Thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview with me.
Yeah, of course.
So, can I ask you? You mentioned previously that you lived in Colorado. Did you have any culture shock moving to Nicaragua?
Um, I think it's odd because I kind of do better in new situations. Like I can adapt better to new situations. And then when I actually go back home, that's when I experience more culture shock. Because it's been, different ways to live. It's definitely like culture shock, but I think I realize it more, when I'm back where I used to be rather than here because I don't really have a choice here. Like I just have to adapt and learn how to live here. And back, in the US, we have like so many choices of everything. That's kind of where it gets me most.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What is machismo again?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
What has machismo began to mean for you?
It's definitely new, a newer concept for me. I've been living here for almost 4 years now. And I guess, I was like in the US, like men catcall you, but I think here it's like just so like I can't leave the house without being catcalled. I mean, I probably minimum every time I leave the house like 5 times. I can't I can't go get groceries without getting catcalled literally like almost every street. But I think the difference is it's like here it's they whistle, they make noises, but they don't really like follow you. Like I guess in the US, I've had people catcall me and then follow me, which is scarier to me than just being catcalled and then left alone. Here it's like they catcall you, and if you don't go up to them, they're not gonna like chase after. Like they just stay where they are, and you just keep walking. So in an odd way, it almost feels slightly safer, even though it still doesn't feel great to be catcalled, but it's kind of nice knowing that you probably won't be like followed, to wherever you're going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what are your roles within the household?
I'm sorry, what?
What are your roles within the household?
Well, I am the main worker just because here, salaries aren't really anything to get by on. So that's definitely something where my boyfriend has had to get used to that because that's, not normal. And then it's very much otherwise, divided into the traditional male and female. Like he wants me to take care of the house, to clean, cook, but he cooks. I complain. But it's very like traditional, like women take care of kids, clean the house, maintain the house. And for us it's a little bit different because I've had to compromise on some things, and I've compromised on a lot as well. But there's definitely like he doesn't clean for I do the cleaning, but he does cook. So
Would you say you take on more roles within the household than your spouse? Do you take on the lion's share?
yeah, I mean I'd say I think at times it can be pretty even because he'll cook, but then I have to clean afterwards. But I just normally am a lot, very like type A, organizing, I like to have a plan type of person, and they're just not like that here. So I think that, just naturally I do a lot more because they don't do it how I like it done, so I just have to do it myself. And I just, automatically, I lived alone before I came here. I had like one roommate, in university, but I lived alone for over a year in university. So I've always kind of been, independent and married, doing the main stuff for my house. So I don't really mind it. Um, and like if I need help, I can bug him, and ask for it. But I think naturally day to day, I get up and clean or organize, and he helps out, like more towards the afternoon once the day's gotten, started.
Mhm. Is there anything in your life that takes a back burner because of all the things that are expected of you?
Um, I definitely don't, go out and socialize as much. I think just because it's like every day here, this isn't necessarily just machismo, but it's just culture too. They cook like 3 times a day. And, you know, I maybe cooked at least once a day back, in my life before. So just the time that it takes, you know, to run a house here, to cook and everything, it's like I don't particularly want to go out and socialize that much, which is, fine for me. But I definitely get a lot of comments about, like, oh, you never see your girlfriend out. So, but that's okay.
I ask really personal, have you been victim of domestic or sexual violence at the hand of your spouse?
I haven't, but there's unfortunately, because it's kind of rare for people here to be in a, I guess, international relationship. There's a lot of, friends of my boyfriend who've been in that situation. Their spouse, they're Nicaraguan. And I think that it's just like an unfortunate part here. And it's definitely something where, I wouldn't tolerate it. So that's not something that would ever work for me. But here, women don't really know any different sometimes. Um, and I think the hard thing is that a lot of women kind of get trapped into the, having a kid with a guy when they're in their teens, really young. And then they depend on that person to take care of the kid too. And it's kind of just like a vicious cycle where unfortunately they don't really know, how to get out of it. They're kind of stuck with someone. Everyone here lives with the family. So they're kind of just stuck in a cycle where I think that a lot of women put up with, pretty terrible situations just to hopefully get their kids back, which is sad. Uh, and I think it's hard because I can't really like help them because they go back. Like if there's a fight and it's bad, then like a day later they'll be back. And obviously, I can't stop them from going back. But I think it's just sad where you see that typical cycle if they don't know how to leave because they can't really support themselves. So I definitely have not been in that situation. We don't have kids um, yet. We have like, animals, some dogs and cats, but we don't, we haven't gotten to the part of trying to raise kids together yet. Uh, and I think it's just different when, like I said, I made a lot of compromises to live here. Like he's made a lot of compromises to change his lifestyle. And that's just one where I was like, if you're gonna be that kind of, typical guy here, then it's not gonna work. So we kind of laid that out pretty early, on being together. But I've definitely seen it, which is unfortunate. So,
Yeah, I've had other cultural norms, and I've been reading that even when women go to do a police report, they're not even taken seriously. Only 2% are actually of only 2% of abusers are actually can't even think of the word now. Prosecuted.
Yeah. I think I don't know about here because I've been told that it's very like if you were to seriously go to the police, they would take it seriously. Um, but I don't know. I think the problem is like so many women fear actually going to the police because my idea is the police are very helpful, so I wouldn't really trust that they would take that too seriously. But according to people here, they actually do take it seriously. So because I haven't been in the situation, I don't actually know, and I've never, I think everyone that I've heard who's been in an unfortunate situation, they just don't go to the police. So I guess if you actually did, something would happen, but then it's kind of like I don't really know how much, like I don't know what prosecuted means. Like I don't know if you go to jail or how long. Like I don't really know if there's like enough, trouble to really prevent, you know, domestic violence from happening. Because femicide here is pretty prevalent, which they tie a lot of the times to the machismo, culture. Um, and I don't know. I mean, I know people in the news, people do go to jail, but they don't have like. I think you can kill someone here and maybe get 30 years. That's the max. There is no life in prison, no death penalty, and I think a lot of people, they get out. They may get sentenced 30 years, then they get out in 3. So I just don't know how, strict they are about prosecuting, which I think is part of the problem is that, it's so prevalent. Women don't want to go to the police. And if they do, it's like, how are they going to know that, their ex isn't just going to come back after 2, 3 years when they get out? So it's definitely not the best situation. Um, and it's unfortunate, but I guess it's kind of how a lot of Latin American countries seem to be. They have violence problems, they have femicide problems, violence problems. And I think it all does tie back to that machismo. Like men can't be weak; they have to always be strong. Kind of culture.
Well, that's the end of the question. Is there anything that you'd like to share for people that want?
I think it's definitely hard to completely change your life and live somewhere new. Um, and I think it's hard to see those kind of things happen when you can't really stop them yourself. Uh, but I think that's why it's kind of important that even if you can't, really do a lot, widespread, it's like little by little, I try to help hit some of his friends here and just say, like, you don't have to be stuck in that. I know it's really hard, imagine leaving that, finding a way to support yourself. But here, because people live, all with their families, it's fine. If you can, to just find a way to not be with that person. And I think for every story that's unsuccessful, there are women who do raise their kids alone or with the family. And it's hard, but ultimately, they're not with someone before who had domestic violence issue. So it's definitely difficult, but it's hard to change too.
Yeah, taking the time
Yeah,
and everything. Do this. I really do
of
appreciate it.
course. I'm glad that I could help. Thank you so much. I'm glad I found you. So I wish you the best of luck on your project.
Thank you.
Bye.